Welcome everybody to the MoYak podcast. This is our special Taneycomo edition. I'm here with Mr. Dominguez. How you doing, bub?
What's up, man? I'm doing good, man. Doing very well. I'm ready to get some fishing going again, man.
Yeah, let's talk about Taneycomo.
Should be a good one. I know I haven't fished it much and I've struggled there, but we've seen some big fish pulled out of there, whether guys will admit it or not. But there's some big fish in Taneycomo.
Yeah, they've been catching some monsters out there. If anybody's been following along the monthly onlines, they've been seeing some big fish caught out there. So I expect to see some more big fish caught this weekend too, because Taney she keeps producing. She got some big girls in there.
It's a good spot, good deal, good place to be. So I'm excited about it. Well, let's talk about our announcements. August 1st, we got the River Bonanza. You're gonna have your hands full with that one. MLF style tournament. I think a lot of guys that, like we were talking about before we got on here, a lot of guys start on the river fishing, and it'll be good to let them get back out on there and start where their roots are at.
Yeah, guys love being out on the river and, doing it this extreme style where every fish counts. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. So, I mean, there is a 12-inch minimum on it, so you can't submit every fish, but, I expect it to be, I'm going to be judging for about 24 hours straight, I imagine. People are going to be submitting hundreds of fish, but I think it's going to be a good time.
Yeah, man, definitely a fun one to watch, and the scoreboard will be fun to watch. It fluctuating throughout the day, and it'd be a good one.
Yeah, for sure.
The weekend after that, we're gonna try and do that float trip, August 8th. Try and get everybody to get together, get up back on the river again, and hang out, have a good time. It'd be nice to get out there and hang out with some guys that you may or may have not met before or fished with or anything like that.
Absolutely, and that's kind of the whole goal of it. Just a a low stress, laid back environment where everybody can meet up and spend some time getting to know each other instead of just being out on the water competing. We got a lot of new anglers and people that are coming in from different parts of the state, so it's good just to get to know everybody. So we can hang out on the water, get to know everyone, as well as share tips and techniques on fishing and river navigation with your kayak. Guys that are just wanting to learn about kayak tournaments can come out and they can come and fish and see how we submit to Tourney X and how all that works, in person. So sometimes it's a lot easier to learn about this stuff whenever you're there in person. So that's kind of what we want to do with that event.
Yeah, it'll be nice just to relax with the guys and not worry about catching a bag or fishing the tournament. You can just go out and chill. You relax on the river. That's
Yeah,
always a
and
good time.
we're going to do our part to do a little river cleanup too. So we'll pick up some trash along the way. The Missouri Stream teams donated a whole bunch of stuff for us, so we'll be giving away some goodies there and have all that taken care of. So it'll come together. Hopefully that date will work for everyone, so we can make it work.
Nice, man. Well, July, we're about halfway through. Top five right now. I'm sitting in fifth with 88 and three quarters. We got Troy Caldwell. He's sitting in fourth place with 91 inches. Danny Johnson, I saw his post the other day. He went out and had a good time on LOZ, which, I mean, Bassmasters talked about LOZ being one of the, better lakes in the Midwest. He's got 93 and a half inches. Peyton Stump, what do you think of his big bass, man?
That's a monster. I mean, that ties the biggest bass ever caught in a kayak tournament in Missouri. So, and it is the biggest one for MoYak. So, wow. Yeah, and it's cool to see these new names coming up here. Some of these guys, they weren't in the top of the field, last month. I think a lot of people got a little discouraged thinking they couldn't do it. Well, we're seeing the results online right now.
Yeah,
These guys are killing it.
yeah, they're doing a great job. He's got 102 and a quarter inches, and then that big bass is sitting at 24 inches, which
Mm.
I don't think anybody's going to beat that this month. I'd be impressed if someone did, but and then Brennan Banks, man, sitting on top again. That big swim bait guy, throwing them big
Yeah,
baits, getting them big bites.
that's
He's
all he
got a
does is fish for big bass.
Yeah, he's got 106 and a half inches, and I bet he's wishing he had that big bat spot to look forward to, but it'll be a tough one to beat for him.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, man, let's get right into Taneycomo. Let's talk about it. I've fished it a couple times. The first time I went there, like I said before, I could have sworn there was not a single bass in that place because I went and I got skunked, man. That place kicked my butt. Guys that are just going there, I mean, what do you expect them to see in Taneycomo? Is it kind of all the same thing, or is it? I mean, they got grass. Is it clear water, muddy water?
Generally the water's pretty clear and cold. The average temperature is right around 48 degrees year round. So, it might warm up and hit, 60 degrees out in the main channel sometimes during the summer, but for the most part, this water is cold and it stays cold year round. So that makes it a whole different animal. And, sometimes they're generating water and sometimes they're not. So sometimes there's a little bit of a current flow, sometimes there's not, and the fish like that flow. When it's flowing, that's when the bite's usually good. They like it up. Uh, the water level on this lake can fluctuate a lot. It can rise 3 foot and then fall 4 foot before you even wake up in the morning. So it's constantly fluctuating. So that's always got the bass on their heels too. So it can make it challenging. So, sometimes, I mean, we've had tournaments where guys have really struggled to catch fish out there. A few years ago, we had a tournament and only like 5 people caught a limit. But then you have a tournament where everybody goes out there and just catches monsters. So it's Taneycomo, she's fickle. It just depends on what kind of mood she's in. But yeah, I mean, as far as what anglers can expect, there's going to be a lot of vegetation. So we got asked about that on the MoYak Facebook group about the vegetation. You've got the milfoil, the coontail, the algae slop. If you like throwing a jackhammer or a topwater frog or a Senko, you're going to love Taneycomo if you haven't been here before, because there's vegetation everywhere. And, we'll show you some pictures of that vegetation. But yeah, it's there. So that's the main cover to fish on Taneycomo is the vegetation.
Yeah, I feel like, if you're, what I've fished is I've seen, you've got spots where it's just heavily, there's grass, it's just heavy cover. And then you go, maybe you go to the other side of the lake where there's, the channel's moving on it. There's laydowns there. There's drop off ledges. There's different stuff like that. So really, if you're not a big fan of fishing that grass or getting into that nasty stuff, there's plenty of spots where you can get out to and find some laydowns, some trees that have fallen over on the bank and different stuff like that. It's definitely got a couple different areas that you can get into and find some different stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. If you go, one thing about this lake, it seems like one side is real shallow flats all the way everywhere, and then you go on the opposite side of the lake, and that's the channel side, and it drops off pretty quick next to the shore. So yeah, you can go from fishing the shallow flats and the grass on one side of the lake, hop right on over to the other side of the lake, and you can be fishing some trees, some laydowns, some rocks, some steep banks are on that other bank. So yeah, you've got options for sure. You can even run up Bull Creek. There's a couple creeks where you can go up in there, and once you get in the creeks, the water warms up. So that can be a factor sometimes too, finding warm water versus cold water. It just depends on what the fish want.
Last Saturday I went and fished, and I got there pretty early, and it was almost like a creepy horror film, or like, it was really foggy, really thick, and we just want to let you guys know that haven't been there. I mean, to be mindful of that. When I got there, there were some bass boats running around, and they had a bass tournament going on, but man, that fog was thick.
Yep, it gets thick there all the time, and it makes for some pretty neat pictures and sunrises too. So I mean, but yeah, most of the boats that run, they're going to run on that channel side. They know not to run on the shallow flat side. So if you're in shallow water and you're in that grass, you're not going to have to worry about them boats. The boats know they've only got a narrow lane that they can run through, and so they usually stay out there unless they're coming in to fish. But those trout guys, they'll stay out on the main lake, and uh, things have gotten a little busier on lakes this year due to everything that's going on with the COVID and stuff. So traffic has increased on Taneycomo, from years past. But compared to other lakes, it's probably our most kayak friendly lake on the schedule due to boat traffic. So if you stay to that one side, you're not going to get run over.
So let's talk about, getting to our ramps. Let's talk about different spots that guys can put in. There's three main ones. I feel like, or at least for sure two. Being Rockaway and Empire are some of the main ramps. How many ramps would you say are available to guys this weekend?
There are nine access points on Taneycomo that are allowed in MoYak. It is Empire land and it has its own set of rules, but we simplified it so these are the allowed access ramps. MoYak Tournament. So this is where you're allowed to access from a Shepherd of the Hills hatchery ramp. We've got the Cooper Creek access. Then there's Sunset Park. Then there's the Branson City Park. It's right there next to Scotty's Trout Dock. Then we've got the Holland Park access. And then as we move down the lake, we come to the North Beach Park. And then we keep on going down to Rockaway Beach. And then we have an access point. It's a roadside access there between Molly Lane and Miller's Bend. And there's only enough room for a few people to park there, so I would not recommend this area. And then finally, we have Empire Park Dam itself. That's a huge parking lot and plenty of space there, and it actually has 2 ramps, so lots of access there at Empire Park at the dam. So those are the access points that are allowed for this tournament. You cannot launch from anywhere else but those access points.
And so there are some stipulations with launching up near the dam, correct? You have to have, what is it? I believe it's a Trout Stamp. Is that correct?
That's correct. We'll throw up a graphic here and show everybody. There is a border there at Highway 65. If you go up above that, you're going to need a Trout Stamp. And then there's an area farther up towards the dam itself where soft plastics are not allowed to even be in your boat. So it's only hard baits, artificial only. So if you go way up there, keep that in mind. Don't even have any in your kayak, or you could get a ticket. So that zone from 65 up, you do need a Trout Stamp.
We see a lot of guys launch from Rockaway. It seems like it's a prime spot, especially with a lot of guys going up Bull Creek. Same thing for Empire Park. What do you recommend as far as guys getting in there? I mean, is there any issue with them going ahead and launching their boat and getting in the water as long as they're, within reason near the ramp and getting situated, and then once we can launch to go ahead and go? What do you suggest as far as that? Because I mean, if we get another 80 guys here on Taneycomo, it's going to be crowded.
Yeah, it is, and we've also got to be aware of the social distancing that the state's wanting us to do right now. So, yeah, we're gonna just treat it like we did last time. You can launch, you can get out on the water before first launch. Drift out there a little bit, get your space, get prepared before the first launch time. So, it is going to be crowded out there. This is going to be a lot of people on the water for this small of a lake. So everyone needs to be mindful of etiquette and common courtesy out there on the water. The rule is a 50-foot distance. Stay away from other anglers. If you can cast and hit them, they're too close. So try to respect other people's space. If someone beats you to a spot, yeah, I know it sucks, but go find another spot. I mean, don't try and crowd in there. Be respectful of everyone. If you've got to go around someone, if you're fishing in some of these cuts and you want to go by someone, just communicate with them. Just say, hey, man, can you mind if I go around you real quick? Sorry. And then, give them some space. Don't spook their fish. If they're sitting in a spot where them fish may be spooky, maybe they don't want you coming through there. So communicate. As long as guys communicate out on the water, everything should be fine. So just be respectful and communicate and give everybody their distance.
Talking about first launch, what time is first launch and first cast?
Yeah, we can go ahead and dive right into that. For the tournament, first launch is going to be 5 a.m. So, like I said before, you can get out on the water a little bit before that if you want to but just don't take off to your spot yet. Stay close to the ramp, give everybody their space, and then go ahead and take off. Lines in will be at 5:30. So at 5:30 a.m. you can start fishing. Lines out is going to be 2:30 p.m. So at 2:30, no more fishing, and we're going to do the photo submission deadline is going to be 4 p.m. as well as check-in. We're going to do the Tourney X check-in and out feature again, like we did on Taneycomo or on Table Rock. So we're going to use that feature again. There is good signal on Taneycomo. I think everybody should not have a problem with signal anywhere on the lake, So that's not going to be a problem. Everyone should have a good, easy time uploading their photos. But if you do have a problem uploading your photos with TourneyX, I will be staying at Rainbow Haven and have a little area set up there where you can come get there before 4 o'clock, and I'll help you get your fish uploaded. TourneyX did do a new update, so anglers do need to make sure that you have deleted their TourneyX app and then gone back and reinstalled it. That's going to ensure that it's going to work properly for you for this tournament, because if you don't do that, you might have some issues, because TourneyX has been changing some stuff around. So make sure, I mean, right now, hit pause and then go do it, you know, and then come back and finish watching this. So uninstall, reinstall, and you should be good to go. We've got the correct versions listed on the MoYak Facebook group if you're curious whether, you know, for Apple and for Android. So make sure you do that as well.
Yeah, it seems like TourneyX has really been working hard on that. It's good to see new features on there and new stuff for us. So thanks to TourneyX. Appreciate you guys doing what you guys do. What else we should address as far as Taneycomo? I'm excited about it. I've never, like I said, I've only caught a couple fish out of there, but I'm excited about it. It's just another tournament, another day on the water, another time to compete. And I'm looking forward to it.
Yep, it's going to be a fun tournament. I feel terrible that we can't meet up again and and eat and hang out, but it is going to be really hot, so that's not going to be so bad. I think guys are going to be ready to go home anyway, instead of all crowding around each other wearing masks. So that's kind of why I made the decision to not have the live check-in. There's a lot of factors. I'm not going to get into it, all that mess right now, but we can solve the problem just by doing this online. So that's what we'll do. Like I said, I will be at Rainbow Haven Resort, and the winners will be notified, and they can come by if they want to pick up their trophies, and the winners are going to get their solar bat sunglasses. I will have all that stuff there. You can get your picture taken, behind the banner with the big check. I'll have a little area set up. Guys can come in one at a time, get their photos, get their prizes, and then go home if they choose to. If not, I can give that stuff to them at the next tournament. So that's how we're going to do that. So the leaderboard is going to stay on all day. I'm not shutting it off. So sorry to all the sandbaggers out there like Dorman, because it's going to stay on. So
he's calling you out, Dorman. Don't be sandbagging, man. No, but it should be a good time, good stuff. Man, I don't really know what the identifier. We're gonna kind of use this as our captain's meeting, but our identifier, you'll release it on Friday.
Yeah, the identifier will be released on Friday evening. I'll put it up on the Facebook group. It'll also be on TourneyX. You can go to your dashboard under identifiers and find it there as well. Also, a question that I got asked, which some people may want to consider doing due to the size of this lake, is shuttling. If you want to shuttle with a buddy, you can do that. You guys can put in at one ramp and fish all the way to another ramp if you want to do that. So that is allowed. So I forgot to mention that earlier. Somebody asked me that, but yes, you can shuttle.
And last year fishing that tournament, I remember that I believe you put it in at Rockaway, and then you floated down to Empire Park. Is that correct?
Yeah, I went from Empire or Rockaway all the way down to Empire.
I mean, if someone actually did that and was wanting to fish it, do you think that's Is that a pretty good ways to be fishing? Or
Yeah, it's a good haul, but if you can do it in a tournament. I've done it the last 2 years in a row. I mean, I skip some water. I do have a trolling motor, so I can go around some areas that I don't like to fish. But for the most part, I kind of just fish the whole bank and just kind of work my way all the way down, and it's worked out for me before. But yeah, it's doable if you keep moving. But it is a haul, and in this heat, you better make sure you got some snacks and plenty of ice and water because it's going to be hot.
speaking of ice and water and snacks, I mean, what do you do, Josh? I know typically I'll try and freeze some Gatorades like the night before and leave them in the ice chest, and that way helps stuff stay cold. But it also stays cold once I'm ready to drink it. Or do you? I mean, do you have some sort of maybe a Yeti or some sort of large jug that you bring, or do you bring ice? What is it for you?
Yeah, I don't ever go out on the water without ice and water ever. That's part of my staple. It depends on the situation. Like if it's not going to be too hot, I have one of those big round like soccer team thermoses. I can fill up with a bag of ice and water, and then I can just fill up my cup out of that, and it doesn't take up very much space in the back of my kayak. In fact, it even fits in my crate, so I can just put it in there. In situations like this where it's really hot, I'll take a cooler, a small hard cooler, and put it in back behind my seat, and have a bag of ice and bottles of water in there. So yeah, I always have ice and water. It just depends on how much. For this tournament, I would break out the full cooler. I might even have 2 bags of ice.
That's awesome. And if it gets hot, man, I did it on Saturday. I took my hat off and I dipped it in the water and put it over my head to cool me down. And get your feet in the water, get your hands in the water. That water is going to be cold compared to what the temperature is, and it'll feel good. I don't know if I'd recommend getting all the way in it, but definitely,
No, I wouldn't try swimming.
no,
You,
but definitely,
you get hypothermia in July in there. I don't
that'd be bad.
know.
Get hypothermia and then get heat stroke right after. That'd be rough. Well, good, man. I'm excited about it. Taneycomo, like I said, I've never done well, so I'm hoping to do well. And I'm sure there's guys that have never been here that, they don't know what they're getting into, but it should be a good time.
Yeah, Taneycomo has been a great lake for MoYak, and everybody enjoys fishing it. It's been a great lake for us in the past, but I also need to make the announcement that this will be probably our last tournament on Taneycomo. I feel like we've outgrown it, and it's just not enough access points, and it's just going to be too crowded. So for next year, for 2021, we're going to say goodbye to Taneycomo on our trail series. So that's going to be a big change for everybody. When we first started out in MoYak and the guys first started this tournament series, before I even joined, it was a small group of guys, 20, 15, 20, 30 people out there is not that big of a deal. I mean, that's a lot of fun on Taneycomo. You get over 50, 60, I can't even imagine what 80 people would be like out there. So that's the reasoning behind it. I just feel like we've outgrown Taneycomo. So it'll be replaced by one or two more events next year that I'm working on that I think everybody will really like.
That's cool. At least we've got something else to look forward to. I'm sure there's a lot of guys that are disappointed that you just dropped the mic on them, but they'll figure it out. I mean, they can always fish it for the onlines. It's always open for that. So I mean, it's not like you're off limits, but we won't be having a full on live tournament there. But well, Josh, what else you got for us, man? You got a wealth of knowledge today from you.
Oh man, I think I'm about tapped out. I just really want to emphasize everyone to make sure you check your Tourney X app and make sure it's updated. Also, please stay hydrated out there. It's going to be like over 100-degree heat index. Not a whole lot of shade. The water's too cold to get into, so be prepared for the heat. Please be prepared for the heat. And if you start to feel dizzy, get off the water. If you're worried about it, then don't take the chances. Passing out in a kayak is not something you want to do.
No, definitely not.
So everybody just be aware. It's going to be hot.
It's going to be a scorcher, but it's going to be a good time. Well, Josh, man, thanks again, man, for everything you're doing. We'll see you at Taneycomo, and look forward to. I mean, we still got a lot of stuff going on. Got Palmy, got Bull Shoals, got the All American, got a bunch of stuff to look forward to. So I mean, we're getting through it, but we're still got a bunch of events coming up.
That's right. We're getting going. We're just getting started.
Let's go, man.